I apologize. I've got a little one in daycare, and as a result, I feel like I've had a cold for 3 months. Good morning, everyone. I'm very glad to bring you greetings on behalf of my office, the City of Sault Ste. Marie and City Council. I want to just recognize and commend the local people that are participating in the Northeastern Ontario Rail Network, and I want to assure everybody else participating in the Northeastern Ontario Rail Network that your local representatives are very capable, competent, and persistent, and I have spent quite a bit of time with them. I'd like to begin by recognizing our guest speakers, Bruce Budd, President of Transport Action Canada, Ken Bittam, who has worked in railroad management for almost 40 years, Sylvain Gervais, Bombardier's Director of Operations and Maintenance for Canada, and Karina Moore, President and CEO of Ontario Northland. I also want to thank the organizers of the summit, in particular Lucille Frith and Don Cunningham, and I'd also like to recognize Linda Savory-Gordon, Dorothy McNaughton, and Al Arrington from the Coalition for Algoma Passenger Trains. Thank you for all your efforts and your advocacy on this very important issue. Transportation is fundamental to the health and sustainability of Northern Ontario. Transit operations such as passenger rail service provide access to towns and communities located throughout the North, contributing to an improved quality of life for citizens and facilitating the movement of visitors to this region. Passenger rail is an environmentally friendly, safe, and generally inexpensive form of transportation, particularly suited to a rural area such as Northern Ontario. The natural beauty of the North provides endless opportunities related to tourism and recreational options, but a transit system needs to be in place to provide access through our region. NIORN's proposed Northeastern Ontario Rail Loop addresses this situation by connecting communities, First Nations, businesses, and the people of Northeastern Ontario to the rest of Canada through Toronto. In the Algoma region, efforts from the Coalition for Algoma Passenger Trains and Missinaibi Cree First Nation, Chief Goche, who is here with us today, and who I went to high school with, but he's a couple years older than I am, to restore passenger rail service between Sault Ste. Marie and Hearst, provide an example of the unlocked potential. There are several tourism-related business and recreational properties located along the rail line's corridor that are only accessible by rail. Approximately 400 kilometers of the 470-kilometer line is not accessible, as I understand it, by public road. The service has been historically subsidized by the federal government, and a socioeconomic impact study conducted in 2014 by BDO Canada determined the federal government's annual contribution of $2.2 million supported between 170 and 220 jobs. There are clearly numerous benefits that come with the restoration of the passenger rail service, and I've outlined these benefits in a letter to the Office of the Prime Minister. Government-subsidized passenger rail service is provided by governments across the world and right here in Canada, and it should be provided once again in Northern Ontario. As a matter of fairness, our federal and provincial governments need to make an investment in Northern Ontario's economy and in Northern Ontario by providing support for passenger rail. On that note, I once again want to thank NIORN, the Coalition for Algoma Passenger Trains, and the committee promoting Muskoka rail travel for continuing to push for passenger rail service. Your cause is important to our region, and as Mayor of the City of Sault Ste. Marie, I remain committed to providing my support and my assistance to you in your efforts. Thank you, and I hope you have an enjoyable day.